let's move on to Ibu Harpis kita, Ibu Fahita. Could you please unmute yourself now? I can see still a mute sign. There you go. Right, so Fahita, she's graduate from Manchester University, and you're not just doing your undergrad, but also you finish your postgrad. A little bit about your background, and I know that you are from the IB school in Jakarta. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Gandhi Memoriam School, and might be you're not, might be it's easier for you to tap into the IELTS things compared to the other speakers. Faita, please share your experience with us.
I grew up, my background is pretty different compared to Stevens and Heikel's, I would say, because I came from an international school. And I went to Gandhi Memorial School, as Budesi mentioned before, and it was actually an English school, of course, but unfortunately they did not offer IB at that time. So my sister's generation had IB, whereas mine, unfortunately, we had A levels. But fortunately, I did not have to go through what Heikel and Steven went through. So I did not have to do a foundation year. But I happened, unfortunately, I graduated high school at 17. So I had to actually wait for a year. I had to actually wait for a year. So at that time, they actually offered me to do a foundation degree, which I declined. I did not want to do a foundation degree for 1 year because I had to spend so much money.
Yes.
So anyway, so I actually waited for a year and I applied for the University of Manchester. I applied for 3 universities actually. It was Manchester, Birmingham, and Nottingham. So and fortunately, I managed to secure places in all universities. But my biggest challenge at the time was I did not know what I was going to study.
Right.
That was the thing. So I was this kid who was like interested in gazillion stuff. I was interested in politics. I was interested in psychology. I was interested in pretty much anything, except for other people's lives.
Right.
So that's what Indonesians call kepo. Tapi I'm not a kepo person. I'm more kepo about knowledge, about politics, about current affairs. So the biggest problem for me was it was very hard for me to determine which subject to concentrate in. So I consulted with a few people. I had always wanted to be a psychologist. I had always wanted to be a psychologist or international relations. I was drawn to politics and international relations. But you know what? I finally chose something quite different, which was management, specializing still in international studies. So how did I end up choosing management with specialism in international studies? That was after a long discussion. So everyone who had known me since childhood pretty much told me, you know what? You'd make a really good psychologist because you read people really well. So I was determined. But my mother told me, you know what? You should do management. So it was actually a last minute decision because under management, you have psychology, you have a bit of international relations, you have accounting, you have pretty much everything. So it was, the scope was quite diverse, and the Manchester Business School actually offered international studies as a specialism. So I was really drawn into it. So of course, I ended up going to Manchester Business School under the University of Manchester. So yeah, that's a brief history.
Right, okay. And then you decided after you finish your undergrad, right, okay, now there are also some options whether I want to continue to my postgrad or should I look for experience and international job while I was in Manchester. Did you come up with this kind of thoughts, Fahita?
So I knew I would do a postgraduate degree when I did my undergrad. So at that time, I wanted to do something different. As I mentioned before, I could not just stick to one field. I'm not that kind of person. I love learning about new things. I love to improve myself, to learn new skills. Of course, I'm a harpist. I haven't been performing in over a year, by the way. That was the first time. That's why I was it was kind of awkward. But anyway, so I was interested in so many things. So I tried education because I've always been interested in education, and my father is also a university lecturer. My grandmother was an English teacher, so I think it's in the blood. So I applied to it runs in the blood, it runs in the family. Now I'm a lecturer myself,
Yes.
And so I ended up applying to the Manchester Institute of Education, now under the University of Manchester. So
Yes.
unfortunately, they changed the name after I graduated. It's now the Manchester Institute of Education. So it emphasized on digital technologies, communication, and education. So I really enjoyed the course. It was really different, a really different experience from the undergraduate course. During my undergraduate degree, we used to have courses in like really huge theaters with hundreds of students, whereas in the master's course, we didn't have to attend lectures every day. It was only like for twice a week, I would say. We didn't have seminars, but reading materials were a lot more reading materials when we did our masters, when I did my masters. But the class was quite small. The class was quite small. We only had like 5 or 6 students, and that too, it was divided between 2 classes. So we had this really, so we developed this really close bond with each other. And of course, I made new friends. The best thing about attending university in the UK is, I would say, you get to meet people from different backgrounds. It opens you up. It offers you different perspectives about lives. Not everyone lives the way we do, of course, and we have to understand how other people live. And that serves you very well in life. I think in life, in workplace, in any setting, I would say. And I did not actually have culture shock when I first attended university in the UK. I was okay because everyone was just, a lot of people just accept you the way you are. They're not judgmental. Some of them are like individualists. So I'm introverted, by the way. So no judgments, nothing. And I was free to do whatever it is I like, as long as we know our boundaries. But time management is the biggest challenge, I would say. Because if you're used to the conventional education system in Indonesia or in, I don't know about other countries, but I did learn about pedagogy during my postgraduate year, and we discussed about spoon-fed education. So the students were actually forced to swallow information, and there was a lot of mugging up, memorizing, and spitting everything into the exam paper, which of course you will forget the next day. So this does not happen in the UK because you have to do a lot of research.
Yes.
A lot of research, and pretty much if you just rely on the slides provided by the lecturer, you can pass. But if you would like to obtain first class degree, of course, first class marks, first or 2-1 second class upper division, that would be enough. I think you have to do a lot of research to get that. You cannot just rely on the slides.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.